All right, guys, I'm Dustin Connell, and I've had the pleasure to show up in Flippin, Arkansas at the Ranger plant. I've never been here before. We're going to go in here and see where legends are made one at a time. Let's go.
Guys, we're fixing to crack the doors open, go in here in the fiberglass facility at Ranger, give Dustin a quick tour of the whole place and let him see what a Ranger's built like.
Let's do it. I'm excited. I can already tell this is going to be fun. I promise you.
Start of the process, which is in our mold department. Everything, whether it's fiberglass, it all starts in a mold. And so we'll take that mold, whether it be a male mold or a female mold, shoot a color in it. Sometimes we'll shoot up to 6, 7 different colors in a hull in a deck. We spray more colors on one part than anybody else in the industry. So it's a big kicker for, this is the way everything starts. Is that an empty mold? That's the whole mold, that's the deck mold. We'll get them waxed up here, but we'll give them a good wax. Usually we can get about 40 parts out of one before we gotta really strip it down and put another good wax in on. When I say good wax, that's 7 different layers. And then every time they come through rotation, they'll get a quick wax, which is just additional. But
these are all just different model boats from
either different models or the same model. You know what I mean?
how many molds do you have of it? Like, let's say a 21 footer.
21 footer.
Probably
We got
3 molds.
16 sets.
That's 16 sets.
Holy crap.
So for us to be able to run one a day, we have to have, think about it, gotta have 4 molds. So, to be able to run 1 boat a day. So if we need to run 4 a day, we need 16. It just depends how many, what our production wise goes.
Gotcha.
On what we do,
Okay.
the way our process it. So
That's cool.
We don't have one at the start of the deal. What they've shot here is the whole bottom color, which typically is black. And then what the orange is a barrier coat. So everything, whether it's the resin, whether it's the gel coat, is all a petroleum-based product, right? And so you want that barrier coat to keep that water penetrating the oil and going up in your product. That's a must-have. That's what you're seeing with that orange there.
So, real quick question. You're not actually spraying the boat, you spray the mold.
We spray the mold.
And then when you place the boat in the mold, it's all,
about it, like it's opposite of a cold. Just think of it that.
you're not spraying the boat.
Nope.
Spray the mold and build the boat, and then when you break it off, it's already painted.
Yep. So where a car starts with a frame, adds the engine, adds the structural unibody or whatever, and then the fenders, it's totally opposite. We start with the paint and then add the aluminum or the metal, which is the fiberglass in the boat.
Yep.
And then we'll add the stringers, which is our frame, and then we'll add the storage boxes and all that stuff, and combine it and put it together, and then we'll have one.
I told y'all you didn't know that. So I didn't know that.
Loose is literally calls the pins, which will be your 3 colors on the hull sides, and then your fin stripes. And so you can see they've already shot the 2 number 1 column, number 3 column. That center one's taped off left there. They'll pull it. And so when a boat comes out of the paint booth, it'll go through this chop station. That electric counter up there measures the strokes for the maul of the boat. And so when that guy's chopping it, he knows how many stroke counts from that chop gun he's got and is allowed to shoot on that boat.
Yeah.
And that's basically, we've got a 50 pounds plus or minus weight that we target when we pull them out of the mold. And so a lot of that starts right here. Same way with gel coat. We get thick gel coat. If it's got an orange peel on it to where we don't feel like we're gonna get a good lamination, we'll peel that out and start over. Weight's critical for us, start to go.
So that way you're not just guessing at how much all this reinforcement is. You know exactly how much is on the boat. And that's what it's all about, having a reliable sturdy. We know there ain't any stress cracks.
Yep.
Because you've already seen that. You know where the stress points are at.
Yeah.
So you reinforce those. Yes, sir. This sounds crazy. This is the actual mold itself, the whole mold of the boat. Is this already painted underneath it?
Yes, that's what we just started on.
So underneath all this, it already is finished.
Yep.
You know it's done.
You get that right over there.
Okay. This is completely backwards. I'm just telling you, it's hard to understand. This is already painted. You don't see it. You pull it out of this mold and it's painted. That's crazy. So you'll pick this up. This is why we do this, y'all. We're gonna pick this whole thing up and flip it over. It's already painted and it looks like that over there. That's cool.
So yeah, they'll take this spring, lower it down on top of that, run racker straps around it, suck it down with ratchet straps, and then you see the electric chain hoist. They'll pick it up. Not only do they pick it up, but there's scales on them. See the little green numbers up there?
Yeah.
That's where that weight comes in.
Okay.
And then they just flip it all in. Yep. And literally, we started out with 100-pound bearing. So we had target weight plus or minus 50. And we usually typically run within that plus or minus 25. And so we're really, really close to target weights on about everything we build.
Gotcha. This is a big operation right here. Like, this is not like building a boat is like way more complex than what people think. Yeah. Like, I know y'all do this every day. You're like, oh yes.
You know, this is the first time we get to look at it. We got a bunch invested in it. So we'll critique it. We'll go through here. This one's not been checked yet because it's not got any tape on it. But she'll start marking stuff. And a lot of times, I can't even see it. You know, maybe some little just a nick deal. Tape. Sure, that's where she's come in here and said, no, I don't like it. I'm like, the only thing I can see is one little dark spot right there. Here. And so we kind of got a slogan here in the house, and if you find it, you fix it. And the reason being, you know, we want these boats to be showroom ready, and if you're paying $120,000 for something, the first thing you're going to do is walk around it and see any kind of imperfection, any fault we can find. So if we find it, we got to fix it, right? Yeah. And then we're staying inside our water saw, our water robot.
Yeah.
So this boat will go, and the nose will push in that V up there. This yellow arm will come out. It'll self-recognize where it goes. And what used to be 12 individuals in a grinding boat is now about 3. Literally, I think it takes 4 minutes of runtime. It'll cut all the box openings. It'll cut the splash wall access out. It'll cut just about every hole possible in the boat. I'll be able to show you on the next one what that looks like and what it does.
Okay.
Like when it comes out of that water saw, all the holes to get to your fish finders, through bolt your trolling motor, your rod buckle, all your box openings, shifters, access for your consoles, tool holder cutouts, fuel tank access. Literally, the majority of the holes in any cut in the boat are cut when it comes out of that water robots.
You pay me time my sheet so I don't trip.
That's gonna be on YouTube. That's just saying I don't know. I'm not safe. That'll be the best part of this video. Me tripping over my shoe and falling down. Everything gets a first chop, then it gets a 3 pieces of hand lay that go from start to back in the bottom. Then it gets a second chop. Then it'll come out. We'll put the transoms, some reinforcement in it for the ladders, some reinforcement in the bottom of the bow, the bow, stuff like that. But you can see this woven mat, that's the hand lay that goes in it. So it gets chopped, then it gets the woven, then it'll get another chop.
So this is what they call the woven wovel.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna tell you. Okay. Now we've all did, I don't know if many people, I've did this. But what we call this is the white meat. If you ding your boat up, which I have many times, and you hit something, and you break that fiberglass, and you get down to the white meat of your boat, That's what that is when you see that. So it's the fiberglass, but it's also the woven.
It is. So I'm gonna educate him a lot.
But even a little girl here, I mean,
I'm learning. So some of this goes back to, and you'll see everything's red all the way up to the flange, okay? Because the white stuff gets cut off. When you hit that rebar at Shreveport or whatever, you know, channel marker someplace, and you gouge the bottom of that and you see the white, and you're gonna see some white, but that white is just that glass without any resin on it, because no more than you bust through that layer of gel coat and that barrier coat's gone, so that water's made to the resin and it starts to delaminate the fiberglass. Here, doesn't matter what boat brand, whether it's the saltwater boat or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when you make it, that white meat is fiberglass. That's fine. It don't matter. One way or the other, it's a bad deal when you make it to the.
if you give to the white meat, it's all bad.
Yep.
It's all bad. Which I've been there a few times.
We talk about transoms, and what I'm holding here is 3 layers of high-pitch filtration, okay? You'll see they're bonded with putty, but then we'll take this, bond it in the boat with some additional putty and glass in on top of it, and then put another half-inch piece. Not only will we get a chemical bond with the putty, but we'll also get a mechanical bond from filtration, stringers, then more filtration. So what you can see here is we've got that transom, we've got this stringer system. What's inside the stringer system that you can't see, Dustin, is there's a setup, what we call a saddle. There's 15 layers of fiberglass in there that's roughly 3/8 of an inch thick that acts like guts it's used to in some of our older models. And then you can see this very last piece of 1/2 inch that goes on top of it that sandwiches all that together. So literally, the boats that hold your motor on will fall before this does.
This stringer, I see these holes as you're filled.
They're chilled with foam. Yep, that's your flotation.
All right. So all these stringers are filled with foam. This note ain't gonna sink.
No, sir. So
it may get submerged, but it will not sink.
So even though our product's on the other side of 20 feet, we still do the upright level flotation. So it doesn't matter what you do. You swamp some big blades out there on Erie or whatever. Yeah, you may get 4 or 5 inches in the floor with you, but you'll still be able to get out of Dodge. 100%. Hulls the same way as the deck. We're gonna pull them out of the mold, and literally, this is one that's, you know, in the mold that you can't see. This is one you just lift it up out of it, and it's ready to go. It's a finished tool. It's been through what we call a grinding booth, had the flange trimmed off of it. They painted the battery area, salt area, to where it looks finished, right? It's one of them deals you gotta get in there. You got a tube, but no, this boat, you'll go ahead and put a fuel tank in it, and once it gets a fuel tank in it, we'll marry it up with the deck right over here at the pinning station. Once I get them prepped, we'll pick the deck up, turn it upside down, put putty on the floor in the cockpit area, and we'll turn it back over, set it all the way down on that hole, marry them together. Literally, they go together just like a shoebox. So you can see, like the way the deck just barely fits over the outside edge of the hull.
Sure.
Hear that?
Yeah.
I did that for a reason. We'll foam here in this space, and then we'll foam at what we call a turner. And the reason why we foam at the turner is so we can position the boat in order to shoot the foam in the critical locations. Because if that boat's not in the right spot, or if that foam's not in the right spot, that's the difference between it floating level and not floating level.
Sure. When you spray the mold,
Yep.
and the pins and all that to this product, how long did that take?
So to this point, we're about 6 days in.
6 days in. 6 days.
Well, the 14 days from the time it gets sprayed in a mold till the time that it's got an engine on it sitting on a trailer.
Wow. Unreal. That is all.
So once they get married together, they go through another inspection. You can see 3 different colors of tape. So basically, just like if you went into the emergency room, right? they're gonna class you as, you know, whether you're trauma, whether you're just the first day, whatever. We've done that same thing with here as far as identifying our defect.
So the quality control is not only, there's not necessarily a quality control station. It goes to quality control every stage of the whole deal.
Yep.
And when you get done with that, it's like, all right, we need to hold it here and fix this.
Yep.
It graduates and goes to the next one. Then it goes through a whole nother series. That's what that's all.
Yeah. So this is the start of what we call our finish area. And so basically we're done with the fiberglass, we're done with the gel coat. You'll see us start installing consoles, putting on carpet, rub rail, carpet trim, bubble trim around the box, actually putting the rod buckles in, all the interior box slot, all your wiring, rigging, all the way to your fish finders and troll motors, rigging the big motors on them. And you'll see it's in a progression, right? Because certain things got to be done before other things. And so it just builds up all the way through the process. Before you know it, there's an engine on the back of it.
Just seeing all of the detail and how, I mean, it's so amazing seeing these boats get built. Like, I'm so intrigued about this. This is cool stuff. Like, it really, really is. I love this.
And so you can see in 4 stations, the boat really changes a lot.
Yeah.
It's got the consoles, it's got the shifter, it's got the side pads in it, it's got all the wires in it. Carpet, transducers are run, steering hoses, key harnesses, all your boat wirings in it. And it just keeps progressing. Like the next ones you can see, the console bezel, the steering hound. Plumbing will be done at the next couple of stations. Ask you this, as a customer and the owner of that boat, when you go to run a new transducer, do you have the option of taking that deck back off and running those wires up?
Not do that.
No, you can't. And so here at Ranger, we do the wiring just like the customer does it, right?
Yeah.
If we can't do it, you know, put together, we dang sure know that the customer or the dealerships can't do them. So, you know, back to that, every boat that leaves here in today's time, you know, with the scope and fad and all that stuff, everybody's buying units on Black Friday or whatever, add them to their boat. And they've got to be able to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And if the dealerships can't do it and the customers can't do it, it just says what it is. So we got to make sure they can.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I've noticed this. It's very easy to run wires in these boats because you can get to them.
Yep.
And it's very accessible. I've noticed that.
And so just because we're here at the bow, I'm going to show you.
Yep.
So you can see everything we've rigged is in this tube, right?
So let's take a look right here.
See this one that's all empty?
Yep.
That's for our customer.
Yep.
So we make sure that they're dedicated tubes so where you guys, you're going to run something, you've got an open hole ready to pull the wires in. They'll be going from here to the console and from the console back to the sump area.
I had no idea they did Ranger offshore boats.
So we do a 2360, a 2510, a 2600, and 2660 here.
And this is a
2360.
2360, that's a big boat.
Yeah.
Wow. I got to get away from this because my wife, if I show her this, she's going to be wanting to go to Owens Beach and go to Robinson Island and go easy around. I can't. If I FaceTime my wife right now, she'd say, we want that one.
So you can see she's putting in the keypads, the valve's already been wired up, foot switch, all your trim rings, lid, shocks, light.
On here, you're done.
As far as building the boat wise, we're pretty close to being done. But as far as going through some QC checks and stuff like that, like you can see this electrical box is sitting on the next boat. That's our QC lady there. She's starting to do the electrical checks on it. So she'll run through a full electrical check. She'll check for bird screws. She'll check for, belt buckle scratches. She'll check for, or maybe they dropped the lid to shut it before the shock was and it caught with a lid thing, Just any kind of imperfection that we can, whether it's function wise or whether it's, just the look. Either way, we'll update the fish finders. We want that, again, showroom ready. And showroom ready if you gas and go.
100%. So what I've noticed, now I'll tell y'all this about my Ranger. Now I'm gonna post a video on our channel and I'm gonna review my Ranger. That's basically what I'm gonna do. One of my favorite things that I absolutely love is when I got in my Ranger, it did not have carpet down there. They did the traction mats, or whatever you want to call them. The traction mats in the bottom, they drain so easily. If you get water, and I don't care what boat you're in, you're gonna have a little bit of water that flows through the boat. That's all part of it.
Yep.
But it drains out so easily and dries out like completely none. You don't have a lot of water sitting in your boat, mildewing all your stuff. It flows through it.
Not only will you see the drains in the boxes, you'll see these areas on the deck that have the drains too, to where it keeps that water from going in the boxes. So like I said, she sees it back there. It'll come up in the rigging line. They'll put the engines on them. They'll also start rigging the trolling motors, kickers. There'll be a group of individuals that'll go through and start detailing the boat. 303 it, clean it up, vacuum it, try to get it clean as possible. Again, showroom ready. We want it setting like it's on a sail ring show floor. So this is where I was talking about as far as picking it up. We'll set it in that pool back there. He'll submerge the back end of it, shoot all the boxes. He's actually got a water hose back there that he puts water in them. Check the bilges. He checks the engines, make sure the kill switches work, the neutral start works. We'll check the radios. We'll check the programming on the rod screens. He'll run through, check our hull sides for any blemishes, right? We've went through one rework area, but then we worked on the boat, and you'll see up till this point to where the plastic, like what's on that 600 back there, is covering our deck. And so we try to keep them from getting any kind of imperfections in them. You can see the rework over here. All three of them are wet sand and stuff. And so that tells you, real world, we don't let them have sandpaper under 1,500.
Yeah.
Most of them got 2,000, 3,000 grit sandpaper. So that tells you how fine of stuff that they're working on.
Just to get every little
detail out here. And so then they'll come through, it'll get polished up, model designator, decals, rating plates, all that stuff stuck on them, the seats put in them. They'll go through a final inspection. That final inspection will conclude with that little black thing up there on that overhead, and it takes a picture to make sure that when we took that boat up the ship, that it's got the cover in it, that it's got the boxes for the fish finders, so where customer gets all the paperwork that they're supposed to get, the manual, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then we'll put it on the trailers. Once it's loaded down on the trailer, it'll go out of here on a truck and to the customer.
To the customer, ready to go catch something.
Yep.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yep.
The way we started, and that's super cool. And this is a big operation. This is a big deal. So I'm impressed. I'm not gonna lie. Well, yeah, man, that was awesome. And it does, I'll say this, I've always taken a lot of pride in all my boats, because here's the thing, having a brand new boat is like, it's a privilege, you know what I mean? And I've always thought that. And when I bought a boat, I'm wiping that boat down and taking care of it. It's like your pride and joy.
Yeah.
So like being able to see someone's pride and joy get built, that's a cool deal.
Yeah.
And having all the quality control, that's cool stuff. So I'm very impressed, and I appreciate you.
Yep.
Appreciate you taking me through here.
Thanks for having us, Dustin. Thanks for being a part of having us.
Absolutely. And for you guys looking for a boat, I absolutely love my Ranger. It is incredible, and seeing how these boats are built, just taking you a little inside the warehouse, inside the facility, and seeing this is a really cool experience. And I highly suggest you give a Ranger a try. It's one of the best boats ever built. I'm going to end the video by saying this. This is the Ranger trademark. Y'all are building legends one at a time here.
Yep, still building legends one at a time.
100%. I'm glad to be part of the Ranger family. I hope you are one day, and we'll see you next time.